Hello and welcome to Ann and Sonya's Co-Teaching Advice column. I'm Sonya Kunkel,
And I'm Ann Beninghof.
and we're here today to provide you with a few co-teaching tips from some of the frequently asked questions that we get. And we have a mailbag, and I'm going to reach into our mailbag and read something to you from one of our participants who has a question about co-teaching.
All right, let's hear it.
Dear Sonya and Ann, I just double checked, and my records say that yes, I'm a certified special education teacher. So why am I being treated like an aide?
Oh,
I thought co-teaching was supposed to be about two teachers sharing all aspects of the instructional cycle, but when we sit down to co-plan, he just gives me his lesson plans and tells me which worksheets might need adapting. I'm convinced co-teaching is better than this, but
mhm.
how do I get there? How do we get there? Signed, certified in Cincinnati.
Well, certified in Cincinnati, we definitely want you to be fully utilized, more so than an instructional assistant. While aides and paraeducators are a very valuable resource, we can't afford to have our highly qualified special educators or anyone underutilized in a co-taught classroom. So how do you get there? Two ideas for you. First, it's really helpful to take the time to sit down and go over a roles and responsibilities checklist, to have upfront conversation about who's going to be doing what together. Some things are shared, but some things are better divvied up with one person handling it versus the other. And there is a copy of the roles and responsibilities checklist on my website, ideasforeducators.com, but you'll also get a copy if you attend a training that we're going to tell you about soon. The other idea I have for you is to think about the components of a lesson that show up regularly. So as an example, things like the activator, the closure, vocabulary instruction, test review. If you find one or two of those areas that you think would lend themselves really well to working on IEP goals for students that have them, or language goals if you're an ELL co-teacher, then what I would suggest is go to your co-teacher and say, hey, I have a great idea for how to do the closure, and I'd really like to take that on because that will allow me to do some work on memory and study skills that students with IEP goals need, but other students could benefit from too. I find that when I offer to take on a component of the lesson and take that responsibility on, that's usually well received because it lessens the workload a bit for the other person. Same with teaching vocabulary acquisition strategies. You know, that's a good place where a specialist can bring their expertise and really make a difference. So sometimes it's helpful to start there with those pieces of lessons and figuring out where your expertise will fit in. Does those make sense to you, Sonya, too?
They absolutely make sense. Those are very valuable tips, Ann, and those are great starting points. And if folks want to find out more about what we can offer or have more tips, consider joining us for the co-teaching Train the Trainers, the National Train the Trainers, and you have two options for joining us this year. One is a virtual option, which will occur December 6th through 9th. And that means that you can join us from anywhere in the country and you can meet up with other educators who have different ideas, who can share those ideas with you. And then the second option is an in-person option in Anaheim, California, January 24th through 27th. And we'll be sharing that as well as information on how to be a trainer. It will be giving you materials, videos, and be available to answer many of your questions. Please join us if you can, and you can find out more information by going to ber.org. Ann, would you like to add anything to that?
Just that we hope you check in a few weeks for our next episode of Co-Teaching Advice Column with Ann and Sonya. Thanks, everyone.